All right, well, number one, the correct use of templates. Why is this important? Templates are primary to everything. They build the table, and pretty much everything stems from the table. So they're pretty important. There are serious consequences to your data and to your table if the templates are not assigned correctly. For example, your table may have mismatched data. Here we see an example of mismatched data. William Daly is actually in the accounting department, which is in building number 9. Yet he has no building listed next to his name. His building has gone down to the person below, Stephen McPherson, who's really in building number 2, and his building has gone down to the person below him. In other words, every record in this table is wrong with regard to office location, to the building there. So what's happened? How did this come to be? The person who created the templates selected the wrong template type for the location field. It's as simple as that. But as a consequence, we have this mismatched data. This could, of course, be pretty serious if you were using this table and specifically this location for planning some kind of emergency evacuation drill or a company-wide office move or even just to hand out pay packets. You want to make sure you've got the correct location listed there. There are 4 template types. You have header, append, detail, and footer. Your specific report will dictate which templates are needed. You may need several templates or you may need only a few templates. But one thing is for sure, you will need your detail template. Your detail template is required because it builds the table. You won't actually even have a table to view if you don't have a detail template created. So let's talk about the detail template. This report that you see on the screen, a person created this report and applied a certain logic in assembling the data. These are employees and they're grouped by department. So your job when you're building your model is to recognize the logic and the patterns within the report. Now, how do you do that? How do you decide what your detail should be? Well, detail is generally the most abundant and varied data in the report. You'll typically see more detail lines in your report than any other line. I'm going to use the analogy of leaves on a tree. There are more leaves on a tree than there are branches, for example. The leaves are the most varied and abundant data. Well, what about data that can't be captured with a detail? All 12 of these employees are in the accounting department, and accounting is above the detail. It's outside of that level. It could not be captured as part of the detail. Append templates relate to or tie together whole groups of detailed records similar to branches on a tree. You can create several appends per model as needed. Sometimes you need more than one append. What about fields that are below the detail? Not above. These are footer fields. You can see footer fields in green here on the screen. They're also like branches that relate to whole groups of details, but we don't want building in this case, for example, to go down as we had department go down to the records below. We want building to go up to the detail records above, so an append wouldn't be correct. You can create several footers per model. There's 2 in this example. Now the name footer might confuse you. Don't let it confuse you. Footer is not the opposite of a header template. Many people make that false assumption, and I can certainly see why they do, but eliminate that association in your mind. Well, speaking of header templates are generally used only for the top of the page, data at the top of the page. There are exceptions, of course. You might think of the header as being like the trunk of a tree, relating to all of the branches and all of the leaves on that tree. Unlike the other templates, the header template inserts a page break into the report. Now, this can be useful. Here's a little tip. The header can be very helpful in solving issues when header data interrupts a multi-line field or a multi-line record. In other words, when half of the multi-line field or multi-line record is above the header information, the header section, and when half of it is below. When this happens, the second half is likely to be cut off or missed because it's been interrupted by the header. In a case like that, just build a header template, even if you don't intend to extract data from the header, and that sometimes is all it takes to fix the problem. Those of you who have ever experienced this probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So there's your solution for that problem. Now here's the resulting table that was created from these templates. Remember, there are only two ways data makes it into the table: by being detail itself or by being attached to the detail. The detail puts the rows into the table, and all other templates simply add more columns to those existing rows. Well, here's some quick examples of templates in action. Here's a report with detail, append, and header templates. Notice the different colors. The color patterns that you see reflect the patterns inherent in the data itself. Before you start building your templates, review your report. That's going to be very helpful to take a look and review it and get an idea of what's contained in the report. It's important to understand your source report. What are the relationships? What is the hierarchy? What is consistent? What's inconsistent? What will always be the same and what's likely to change? What should one table look like? What should the table look like? What would one record look like in the table? So the colorful templates that you see here, if you're a little surprised to see them, that's because you're not on Monarch version 10. These colorful templates are available only in Monarch version 10. You can see here that they certainly are pretty, but that's not their purpose. They're much more important than that. They make template building and troubleshooting of the template building process so much easier. This model uses all four templates. You can see all the different colors. That's one header at the top, but with three different header fields. You have two green footers here, one orange append, and then one light orange detail. This is just detail and two appends. The two appends are bookstore and category. Now remember that your template sample can be a multi-line sample, up to 256 lines. So this looks like a multi-line detail sample to me. Here's an example where everything was extracted with detail. Someone else building this model may have chosen to use an append for a Social Security number. Maybe they would have used a footer for the phone number. But obviously it can all be accomplished with detail. There's often more than one assembly of templates that you can put together to create a model. Finally, here's an example where several templates were needed. You want to become very comfortable with templates and how to apply them. Look for patterns when you're creating your templates, and that's going to help you.